your inner reaction.
Can you say that again, please?
Would like you to notice your inner reaction. Where within you it comes forth, the reaction to the word. Where? Without judgment, just where does it come forth from? Because there will be a reaction. And as we proceed, you begin to understand yourself and why you're here. So center. Jew. Catholic. Muslim. Baptist. Hindu. Buddhism. Buddha. Buddha one is you now, above all of them categories. You felt the difference. Strength or an energy in one, and lightness and heaviness in one and not in the other. Buddha. Buddha one of you knows that. So you balance your own petitions. You balance your own petitions. Separatenesses you created in the isms. Because there's a reflection there. And an inner judgment. Yet in that inner judgment there's a recognition. What is it? How did you get that imprint, we'll say, in each individual system where you got hit in the word? Buddha one, takes you above that. Each religion is a child of the Buddha one. Each religion itself, the religion itself, Judaism, Hinduism, Catholicism, Buddhism, Muslim, all of it. The religions themselves are children under the Buddha one. Within the religion, there are children within that child. Within the religion, there's children within the child. Within the religion, there's children within the child. The child is religion. There are systems and doctrines that are not called religions, mistakenly if they are, but they're doctrines. And doctrine means law. And each of the individual religions have their laws, but there's a greater law above them all, and it's a doctrine. That's why it's called a doctrine. The secular heads of the tribal constituency, and we're calling the tribal constituency the separateness of your religions, are aware of this. And they're going through a battle of supremacy now under conscious understanding of the feeling of guilt and selfishness with the entity called fear. And this is the condition the human is walking through now. Your bones are aware of it. The health of the body, mind, and spirit occurs when you are a Buddha one above it. You understand? These are children within a child. That child is going to alter itself. It's going to have to. Each of the children of the religious sects. Because the force that's beginning, we're going to say God, is in your breath. And He's going to take it away. He knows how to do it. You're being warned. You have been. You're going through the process in your moment now. In your moment now, the recognition of it, so you can move beyond the judgment of it and help those that need the rescue from it. So the awareness of the self's importance and the understanding of breath and service is meaningful. Because the one that's going to be your angelic forces that are coming to help you, your spiritual friends, will say, that haven't forgotten you, but you've forgotten them. How do we know? Because you don't pray for them. How do you remember they might be there? But they pray for you. They do. And there are prayers asking beings in the Virgin Mother to pray for their sinners, because their missioners don't know how to pray yet. And that's the truth. You're learning in your world now, your responsiveness of tone, which you consider your authority, but you don't even know who gave it to you, that you could think that you might have. And in the inappropriate use of the words in the display of what you say is intellectual communication, you're damaging your tone and your bones. In the beginning there was no religion. There's appreciation, breath, life, and joy. It was tender. You're going through the process to achieve that again, yet that process is all of this antagonistic anger war thing. The survivors will have met God and will know. I'll put it that way. And then there'll be an appreciation for the abundance of the space that you have. And I told you the space is Grace. That's her name. That's her name. Grace. You're in her grace. Her cloak of grace. That you have an identity called yourself. And you're not in the great oneness, which everyone wants to go to. And then you're just one, you're all alone. That's all you are. This is ball of shining light, they're looking for something, and nothing's going to look at you. You don't see other balls of light. You can't. You can't. You're part of everything. But you can't coagulate it to claim identity and persona with it. Because that's the envelope that has given you, understand, your seed of thought. And you haven't used your seed thoughts, we call them, correctly. You forgot that seeds need to grow. And you're being thrown and scatter them all over, judgmentally. The spiritual sacredness of yourself must be understood this way. When your Kundalini moves up your left side and your right side, they have a communication focus eventually together here, where they workingly, jointly form the seed. And it's a beautiful thing, and it always manifests. Because it's blessed by both. And then you understand this utility you call prayer. For that is what it is. It's a utility, a tool that you use to maintain proper thought balance and appropriate respect for unknown things occurring within you. That's what it is. And because of the damage and danger to the human condition, it has returned into supplications, beggings and manna, because you forgot the maneuvers of it. You forgot who shows up and who you're talking to and who has never left. You did the leaving and you were sent. That has to be clear. And the reason we're talking with this tone and intention within the bones and the reflection upon the Word because you're all part of the Word, the entity called the Word. He's going to teach you to speak correctly, appropriately, with compassion and understanding, instead of ridicule, anger, and criticism. Because when you do it that way, ridicule, anger, criticisms, destroying your bones. In doctrinal teachings, you have preceptors, ones that come before, so to speak. You have them. They've been given to you. There's 12 of them. They're called apostles. Each of your fingers has 3 sections. 4 fingers, 12 apostles. Who do you want to talk to? There's the telephone connection right there. You call it Jin, Sisu, and mudras and things. The will is here. The representation is Jesus, whether you know that or not. The mound of the tomb is where the Virgin Mary is, energy-wise. It's the love. Goes up to here. She loves her son. When these connect, you're talking to someone besides yourself. If you listen. And if you trust yourself, and if you trust the understanding that you have bones, and if you trust the understanding you may have some sincerity to understand the God within you, and why you have your appendages and fingers and toes, because you don't know how you did it, ended up with it. The why has always been with you. It's always been with you. The argument has always been with you also. This is not your first incarnation, and you know that. And it's none of your business if you don't remember what the last one was anyway. There's a reason for that. You messed that one up, that's why you got this one. You don't know what you did, so you can at least have some grace to think that you are clear to start again. But you're not, because it all comes together. The eventuality is you're surrendering to yourself. They had the wisdom to surrender to God sometime. And now it's developing the wisdom to listen to that surrender, to the inside of it. And the appreciation, thankful, because there's more coming. And you're going to need to have what you call stabilization in the path. And I'm calling it the path. Because if anyone's in your space, they're in the same state of grace. because that's her name. That's where you are. No one's better than anyone else. And she's presenting the mysteries. Because that is what they are. You are breath itself. You actually are what you would understand a disciple of the Word of God, as it said. It's how you became. And you're going backwards in a manner, not logistically, but in the understanding of your primal conception. You had a isness. I didn't know I can. And then the identity of who and how it came hit. And then the agreement for the proceedings of understanding, which is lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Isn't that now? And that's why suicide is becoming so popular. You can't wait for the next lifetime. That's not genius. That's not even close. That's not even close. The respect for the privilege that you have one now and you didn't know how you did it is ignorance. And thus the suffering, which is what you're seeing now. And it's what many are going to experience more. And there's going to be the accusations and accusations and accusations. Because they don't have any defense for their own shame. This is what's motivating all of the spiritual forces, is the shame to come upon. It doesn't matter who you are. Human or in between, or in between the in between. Shame is coming. And that's what the fear is. So what you do is you acknowledge your presence as just being lucky to have one. Remember Buddha. You have one here, sitting here. That's the importance of it. It takes you from the secularization of the others into a doctrinal position of understanding that this lifetime you are living a teaching. Haven't figured out which one yet, but you're smart enough to know it's a teaching. That's your individual genius. When you're in the clarity in the choosing and in the clarity within the receiving, you understand what bodhisattva means. And you're available for the health of others. Health. Because without health, the brain has difficulty in focusing on what you call the intensity of the spiritual experience. And gaining the wisdom from it. Recycling wisdom from it. Not the grabbing wisdom, but the recycling wisdom. You will understand what I'm saying here in your next 2 weeks. As you have gone through your past months, reflecting on your childhood and this, that, and the other, that's the recycling thing. It's going to speed up the recycling thing, and moment to moment you'll be recycling your day before you've had it. Before you've had it. You will recycle your day before you've had it, before you've proceeded to it. As I will say, you're in your Wednesday evening now, you'll be recycling your Thursday recycling. You'll be correcting yourself for appropriate things you thought you were going to do in that time and space, and adjusting your process to fit the procedure and schedule of yourself. That's recycling your intuitive presence. Recycling your intuitive presence. And notice these two fingers. You have them too. Hold them up. Put them right here. Here being the heart, close to the solar plexus. Now put them up again. Now I want you to do this. Watch this, which side of the head. Take them and put them right here. Left side of the cranium above the left eye. Notice the energy there. Straighten up by your head, 2 fingers. Bring to the right side. Peace to all beings. Bring up center, bring back down to your heart. I just showed you something that will allow you to focus thought in the understanding of the accomplishment of things. There's 2 sides there, different energy on both sides. That's your brain capacity in functioning, in its ability to manifest in the present moment with these 2 fingers. There's a reason John the Baptist in Michelangelo's painting they're holding these 2 fingers. You get half of the disciples right there that know how to do things. They've been taught the mysteries beyond. This is significant. Pay attention to it. And the experience you have within yourself, remember compassion and gentleness. There is a reflex action here. And if it's not appreciation, you're interfering. These are defensive postures only right now. Defensive. As if you're trying to calm down a headache. So you don't explode verbally and damage someone. That's what that gesture means. You're in another process now where you might react to telepathic influence if you haven't had an understanding of yourself. And by that I mean, you will feel it the same way you felt it when I mentioned those words. The same difference, the same energy focus, or the same frequency as one of them. So you'll know where you are, Buddha. Because Buddha in the lotus position sits above them all. Above them all. So you'll take yourself into Buddha-one. There's a gold frequency that comes into you. It has compassion. It's not worrying about itself as being self. No. It's in the teaching mode of bringing forth compassion so the space can be enjoyed by ones that are not aware that it is the Mother Grace, the Lady Grace, that you're involved with. And this is how she teaches, gracefully. That's why you're getting it this way. It's the way she wants it. Teaching on this planet are hers, pretty much, if you understand things. You have your degrees in college. Bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, doctorate degrees. You have your master's teachers. Well, the master teachers teach doctrines. And doctrine intimates that it knows more than the students. That's what it means. And they're doctors and doctors and doctors. The human is not advanced enough to understand the doctrine of the doctrine. It's difficult enough to get the understanding of what the word doctrine means compared to religion. Because each religion is going to explain, well, it understands part of the doctrine. Yes, it does. Part of it. Part of it. Your consciousness now is moving into doctrinal theology in a manner that requires proof and that requires experiential understanding beyond the wordy thing. The feeling of knowledge and flowing through you, and appreciation and capacity to do it without having to be concerned about recycling your day, because you've already done it. You've already scheduled your schedule with your divine self in the movement through space, who is Grace, as she works with you. Because that's what she's doing, whether you know it or not. You have to acknowledge yourself. She's the one that's allowing us to move through her, through the space, and then you're in charge of the space because she acknowledges you, and then you need to keep your space in the proper way so you can really understand that you're entertaining, and being taught by herself called Grace. What grace is, what it means, how to act gracefully, be graceful. And I don't mean superficially. Now, when she shows up, she's usually accompanied by a crowd. Like archangels and other ones. Gabriel's one. Shiva's another one. Uriel's there. Michael's there. Raphael's there. You can communicate with any one of them at any time you like. Just be it in the appropriate manner. Because those spiritual forces are the only one that's going to be able to assist you through this process of yourself identifying with yourself in a space and presence of the divine as it shows up. And you alone only. But there'll be others in going through the same thing. You'll see them in the physical. I don't mean there's oneness thing where you can't see anything. You're going to see it. Because that's going to bring out the compassion in you to help alleviate the suffering. Because the other name for Lady Grace, her name is the Mother of Sorrows. Reflecting upon the crucifixion primarily. The feeling there? Can you imagine? Soon? Peace. So, I wouldn't complain to her about feeling bad. She'll give you the courage to make it through it. Because right now, things are not going to get any better on your planet for a little bit. I have to tell you that. You're going to need prayers, particularly at 6 o'clock at night. because that's when the shift is opening now, even stronger. And you're going to need prayers of protection because you don't know what's coming. And you won't believe it anyway. The two simple prayers of the Lord's Prayer that was given, it has mysteries in it. In the Rosary, if you know it. In Psalm 6. Because Psalm 6, the last verse, asks for your enemies to be ashamed. It includes the word suddenly. And that's a brick wall. They'll hit it. Psalm 6. Because you've already forgiven yourself from the first verse when it asks for forgiveness for your own iniquities. That's a hard verse to get through. But once you do, you'll get the benefit of verse 10. And those are the secrets that are within the Psalms for some of you. And when you get to verse 5 of Psalm 6, you might understand yourself a little bit more. Because that's where you came from. Before you got here. Or through it anyway. Peace to all beings, health to body, mind, and spirit. Focus on all your relatives. Just think the word relative, health to their body, mind, and spirit wherever they are. Comfort and compassion to anyone suffering. The simplest way in the comfort and compassion to the suffering is think of a large white pillow. Just put it there by the head, whatever you see. And that relaxes the unconscious, the understanding of the unconscious. So we can have a new breath. And that's the importance of breaths through the chakras. A new breath, new continuity, a new step forward, a new sense of being. Being. Health to body, mind, and spirit. Peace to all beings. Protective envelopes around all children that you know. Just bubbles like bubble wrap. Boom, push it over. Peace to all beings. And allow it to be clear so the children can see each other and recognize each other and not be separated like the adults in recognition. Understand? That's it. Peace to all beings. And it brings comfort to the children. They're not alone in their thinking processes. Because they have a recognition visually. They see auras. They feel differently. Until they learn to shut it down for protection. Because just a word could almost kill a child. A misunderstanding. It can literally destroy the rib cage. Because you're getting all the souls coming and returning. They know what it means. You're not really communicating with children. You're all children. Learning to be equal. Without the inferiority thing you perpetuated amongst yourselves for some reason. Sense of worth. You have to be worth something. You're alive. That is the number one common sense thing. Now your worth is coming out. Yeah, you develop it. And then you become worthy of yourself's self. If you have a self, you're becoming worthy of. The next phase in your understanding of incarnation is the application of the magical forces. Well, you term magic, the elementals. You're going to work with them because you can't deal with social consciousness anymore. Too much argument going on. So you're going to communicate with the elementals. And they have very short sentence structure. Agree for completion or not completion is done. You're dealing with kings, queens, and princesses. And princes. Air, earth, water, fire. Your saving grace, whether you know it or not, is wood. That's the fifth element. That's the fifth element. You know it's alive. Not quite like your bones, though. Now, how could that be similar? And you're the one moving around. With a similarity of strength of wood, but they're bones. Why? How did that come about? Did you think about that? The elementals did it for you. The blessing of the Holy Spirit, initially. And that's the one I told you that circumvents your bones, around your bones, a thin sheath that squeezes it so you can have blood and pretend you're you. The thankfulness for that Spirit is going to be needed now. You understood now? It's not this, the Holy Spirit thing is not one that just wants people laying on the, prostrate on the ground. Too strong, it's boring there. It's for the movement and understanding of the race of consciousness. You notice what I said? I call it a race of consciousness. I didn't call you black, white, yellow, or red as races. Consciousness. It is a race. You are a race of consciousness beings. So it's a proprietary way you think. It's called consciousness. That's your race. The rest is just different colored shirts. But you're not there yet. But you will be. And the quickest way for that to occur is one's to live in appreciation and do. Not standing up pointing me. Everyone's a lot of doing me. No one's really helping someone else. But they want help later because they say, pray for me. Why? Should I? If you know what the word means, and if you know what it does, or as you would think, supposed to do, then you do it. Or you're neglecting your own responsibility. And that's what it's coming down to now. You have a personal responsibility for the forces that gave you a body. And those are your parents, whether you like them or not, doesn't matter. For the remembrance of them. And it's called the continuity of existence in a doctrinal way, within a doctrine. Reincarnation sits down in the religion thing. There's another process up here. You're supposed to know what you're doing. And not in a fearful way. Confidence in the understanding of the Buddha one is accomplishment, acknowledged before it's done. Because you can do it. Confidence. Time, space, and patience is the application of that confidence in the doing of what you said you would do. And that's what space is for. And that's why you're giving the overwhelming comfort of going through this gracefully. Yet, look at your world. Does it look like it's being done gracefully? No, you know that. But you're going to see it and find it out. You're in it now. So my advisement is learn a prayer, pick one. I've mentioned them. Do it. I don't get a commission on it. It will be helpful to the body, mind, and spirit. And peace to all beings. Comfort to the ones that you enjoy. Peace and protection and love to those that need it. There's a lot of confusion going on in the mental capacity. There's an overload of the brain, pretty much, is what's occurring. It drops down back in the heart chakra. The brain's trying to see if the heart has a handle on it, and then you go into confusion mode. So it's peace to all beings first, stabilize yourself, always. And then Om Tat Sat, which means this is that, or it means I am that. But this is that is a safe place. Because the that's know they are not this, and this knows it's not that. But this knows it is that, and that knows that it is this. And that's you. So Om Tat Sat stabilizes things in a quick way for you. And that's a Buddhist teaching, which is above the religions. That hasn't been said before on your planet either. Don't get heady with it, though. We are through.